So in last class we had discussed about the representation of a vector and how we find the magnitude of a vector. We had applied the working formula, and that says under root of x square plus y square. I also told you the concept behind the working formula, and that is by Pythagoras theorem. Right? So in today's class we are going to continue with the book questions. In last class we had done question number 1, 2 and 3. In today's class we will start with question number 4. The question says ABCD is a parallelogram. It is given that vector AB is 7 and 0. Now it means 7 on the x-axis and 0 on the y-axis. And the vector B and C is -3 and 4. Right? So if I draw a parallelogram here, that is a parallelogram. It's A, B, C and D. You know that in parallelogram opposite sides are parallel and equal. Right? In the first part, we need to find the value of magnitude of AB. You need to do that first, and for that purpose I will give you a time of 1 minute. Find the value of magnitude of AB. Apply the working formula. X square plus y square with a root sign gives you the value of magnitude. Done. So AB magnitude is equals to under root, the vector of AB is x square plus y square, or we can say that it's just 7 square because 0 square is 0. So square and root cancel, so the final answer of AB is 7. Right? In part B, it says express each of the following as a column vector. First part, it's BC. Now you need to find out the vector BC, and for that purpose I give you a time of 40 seconds. What should be the vector of DC? Done. Alright, the vector of DC is same as the vector of AB because in parallelogram opposite sides are parallel and equal. So the vector DC is 7 and 0 as equals to AB. For the next part, you need to find the vector DA. Now, most of the students will do it wrong. And again, you have 30 seconds for the vector DA. Done? Alright. So if your answer of DA is -3 and 4, then it is wrong. Why it is wrong? Now listen carefully. If I say that B to C, it's -3 and 4. The arrow indicates that it starts from B and ends at C. Similarly, if I say A to D, starting from A and ends at D, now it should be equals to BC, so it's -3 and 4. But if I say DA, now AD and DA are negative vectors, right? So its value would be 3 and -4. What do you mean by negative vectors? Same magnitude but opposite direction. The values are same but the sign is opposite. Here we have -3, then it should be +3. If it's +4, then it must be a -4. So that is the value of DA. Clear? After question number 4, moving on to next question, it's question number 5. As you can see on your diagram, it says express each of the vectors in the diagram as a column vector and find its magnitude. So let's suppose I will begin from AB. So what is the vector of AB? First I need to find the value. Now if I am starting from A and I need to reach at point B, where should I move? So I will move 1, 2, 3, 4. So on the x-axis I move 4 units, but it will be -4 because I am moving on the left side. And with the concept of axis, if you move on the left side, it will be -x, right? Then I need to move upwards, so 1, 2, and 3. So the value of y is 3, so that is the column vector of -4 and -4, 3 of the vector AB. Now we need to find out the magnitude, so it's AB, that is the representation of a magnitude with a modulus sign. So working formula, we know that it's x square plus y square. So x is -4 and y is +3. -4 square is 16 plus 3 square is 9. 16 plus 9, it's 25, and the final answer is 5. That is the magnitude of AB, right? So I had done the vector and the magnitude of AB. Now you need to start all these vectors. CD, this vector is only P, so you will define it by only P. P, U, R, S and Q. You need to do it by yourself. First find the vector and then find its magnitude, and for that purpose you have a time of approximately 3 to 4 minutes. So start. complete all the questions. First find the column vector and then find its magnitude. First find out the vector and then find its magnitude. Done? Alright, I hope that all of you had completed all those parts. Now, if we talk about the vector CD, so for C to D, we need to move 2 steps down. So the y is -2 and 1 step on the x, so x is 1. That is the vector of CD. And if you need to find out the magnitude, it says x square plus y square, so 1 square plus -2 square. 1 square is 1 minus 2 square is 4, so it's equals to √5. If we talk about P, so for P we are moving 1, 2, 3 units on the x and 3 units on the y. That is a vector P and its magnitude is 3 square 9, 3 square 9, so it's 18 under root, right? Or you can say that 3 under root 2, both are equal. After that it's Q. For Q it's 2 steps on the x, negative x, and 1 step downwards, so it's -1. Magnitude is -2 square is 4 and -1 square is 1, so it's √5, right? RS, you cannot write it as SR because the direction is from R to S. So when we move from R to S, we are moving only in X direction, not in Y. So 1, 2. So there are 2 steps on the X and 0 steps on the Y. And the magnitude is minus 2 square, that means it's 2. Similarly, the last one, TU. Now, in TU, we are moving only in Y direction, not in X direction. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 units and 0. And the magnitude is 4 square plus 0 square, and that is equals to 4. So that's how you attempt the question on the grid. How you write the column vector, it's very easy. Just mark yourself with the point that I am standing on this point and I need to move that point. So you can easily visualize it on which axis you are taking how many steps, and that is your basically column vector. After question number 5, moving on to the next question number 6. Now you need a graph paper for question number 6. It says, on a sheet of graph paper, draw the following column vectors. Now you need to do the reversal of question number 5. You need to draw the x-axis and indicate the scale on the squared graph paper. Right? Now in the above question on the graph paper, column vectors are drawn and you need to find out the column vectors, right? Now in this question, column vectors are known and you need to draw it on the graph. Like in first part, it says 3 and 2. That is first part. Now on your graph paper, how we need to plot this one? Let's suppose that is my graph. First, we need to draw the axis, right? So I draw the axis in the middle. Right, that is my x and y axis, and I will say that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On y axis, I'll say that 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, minus 2, minus 4, minus 6, minus 8, and minus 10. Right? So I have drawn the complete graph and you need to do it like the same way. So if we talk about 3 and 2, right? So that means on x-axis is 3 steps and on y-axis it's 2 steps. So it's starting from this point till this point. That is the first column vector, right? On the x-axis it's 3 units and on the y-axis it's 2 units, so it's 3 and 2. Now you need to do the rest of the question, but before that you need to draw the graph and then start those questions. First draw the axis on the graph paper, and for this purpose you have 1 minute to draw the neat and clean axis on your graph papers. Alright, I hope that all of you had drawn the graph paper, axis on the graph paper. Now I have done the first part, we need to start from the second. It says minus 4.5 and 8. Start. You have approximately 40 seconds for this part. Done. So if I draw minus 4.5 and 8, minus 4.5 indicates that we need to move on the negative x-axis. So like here minus 4.5 comma 8. So the column vector will be, that is my vector, this one, right? On x-axis it's minus 4.5 and on y-axis it's 8. After that, start the point part C, minus 5 and 7. Do it. Done. So it's minus 5 and 7 lies here, this point, right? So it will be minus 5 and 7, that is your part C, and this one is part B, this one is part A. For part D it's 0 and minus 2 whole 1 upon 2. First try it by yourself. Now, once you find out that there is no movement on the x-axis because of 0, you need to move only minus 2.5 units on the y-axis. Now minus means that we need to move downwards, and 2.5 lies here till this point, right? So vector will be, that red is your vector. I hope that you can watch it easily. That is your column vector for the part D, right? It's minus 2.5 on the negative y, and there is no movement on the x-axis. Once you find out all those column vectors on the graph, now you need to find out the magnitude of all 4 parts. Find out the magnitude of all 4 parts, and for that purpose I gave you the time of 2 minutes to find out the magnitude of all 4 parts. So start. Done? Alright, I'm starting now. For the first part, the magnitude is 9 plus 4 with a root sign, and that is under root 30. Right? X square plus y square. For the second part, 4.5 square is 20.25. 8 square is 64. That is equals to 84.25 with the root, and when you find out the root, it's 9.18. For second part, for part C, minus 5 square 25, 7 square is 49. 25 plus 49, it's 74, and root of 74, it's 8.60. For part D, that will be equals to 2.5, because 0 is 0 and 2.5 square and root cancel each other, right? So moving on to the next part of the same question, it's part E, and it says negative of 6 and minus 1. Now you need to plot the negative of this vector. Do it by yourself first, and then I will explain. Alright, the first thing is you need to find out the negative vector, so that will be negative 6 and positive 1. And once you find out the negative vector, now you need to plot it on your graph. Since I have a limitation, I don't have the value of negative 6, but if I plot, so it will be like negative 6 and 1. It should be like this one. So you need to plot it on your graph. I cannot plot it due to the values lies outside my graph, but you need to plot it on your graph. It should be look like this, right? After this part, the next part is negative of minus 3 and 0. So the negative of minus 3 and 0 is 3 and 0, 0 with positive sign or negative sign, it does not matter. So final answer it will be, if I draw it on the graph, so 3 and 0 means on the 3 on the positive x-axis, right? So that is 3 and 0, 3 units on positive x-axis, and there is no movement on y-axis, therefore it lies only on the x-axis, right? So that's how we plot from the column vectors, or we extract data from the graph. That is one of the technique to find out the column vector. I hope that all of you are clear in the concept of magnitude, representation and column vector. If you need to find out the magnitude of part E, what will be the answer? What is the magnitude of the vector of part E? Done? So it will be under root x square plus y square. The value of x is minus 6 if the value of y is 1. That is equals to 36 plus 1 gives you the value of 37. Find out the root of 37. It's 6.08. That is the magnitude of part E. For part F, the magnitude will be only 3. Right? For part F, the magnitude is only 3 because the y value is 0. So x is only the one which has the magnitude. Right? So I think that is enough for today's class. So if I revise what we had discussed in today's class, the first thing we had discussed in today's class, the parallelogram question, right? The important thing is, let's suppose if the value of BC in this question is minus 3, then the value of DA should be the negative vector. Most of the students make mistake of sign in vectors, right? So you should be very careful when you are dealing with the vectors, because in vectors direction is very important, right? If you are moving from A to B and if you are moving from D to A to D and D to A, they are not equal, they differ in signs. That is very important. After that, we had discussed how we find out the column vectors from the graph, right? And in that question, I have explained that you need to observe how many steps you are moving on the x-axis or on the y-axis. If you are moving on the left, it will be negative x. If you are moving downwards, it will be negative y. And in the last question, we learned how we draw the column vectors on the graph, right? If it says 3 to positive step, 3 steps on the x-axis, positive 2 steps on the y-axis, we got a point. You need to meet that point from the origin, right? And we had already find the magnitude of all the column vectors. So that is quite enough for today's class. I hope that all of you now clear in the vectors, and most of you think that it is an easy topic. Yes, it is, but like I have told you at the beginning as well, till the start of the vectors, right? So inshallah, next class we are going to continue with more book questions. Till then, you need to practice, revise vectors.